Hello and welcome here to Talk FCB and welcome to the match review of Barcelona against Chapecoense, the Joan Gamper match live from the Camp Nou this evening, and it was a very, very entertaining affair and it was a really nice occasion. You know, the players were welcomed before the match by the Camp Nou, and of course the Chapecoense players and fans inside the stadium received a lot of warm applause. They were greeted fantastically by the crowd, and the players themselves got a sense of a feeling of real emotion, and it was a really, really nice occasion. You know, they came out with the shirts. On the shirt was 71 stars representing the 71 people who sadly lost their lives in that tragic plane crash back in November of last year, and it was a real celebration of life at the Camp Nou today. The Chapecoense players got a chance to play in this match, to play against players they've no doubt seen on TV, wanted to experience live, wanted to meet themselves, and that happened a lot throughout the game. You saw a few exchanges, particularly with Lionel Messi going up to players, speaking with them. He also exchanged his shirt at half-time and had a selfie with one of the players, and it was really nice to see them having a nice occasion after all the difficult times they've been through of late. So it was great to see that. But in terms of the football, we were truly dominant today. It really was a dominant performance from Barcelona. Very, very early on, the signs were this is going to be one-way traffic. And that's exactly what happened. You know, the first 5 minutes was complete domination. We were camped inside Chapecoense's box. You know, it was bouncing around a lot. You know, Lionel Messi, Suárez and Deulofeu with the starting trio. And I was really, really interested before the game to see how this went. You know, how would Deulofeu perform in this wing role? You know, on the left-hand side, he is comfortable there. He is quite renowned for playing on that side. And I was really interested to see how he played, because I think he was really unlucky not to go on the tour of the United States. You know, he just missed out through injury, and I think he could have really impressed on that tour if he'd been given the chance to go. And certainly since then, he played against Gimnàstic de Tarragona in the sort of practice match, and he got his chance today. Valverde chose to start him, and I think it was an excellent decision because he played really, really well. It would have given him a lot of confidence, and it's certainly given us a chance to see what he's made of, and it's a really, really good first impression. He was involved right from the start. It was about 5 or 6 minutes gone. You know, Suárez was linking up on the edge of the box with Ivan Rakitic, a really nice reverse pass from Luis Suárez. Rakitic was in space in the box, very, very unselfish. Deulofeu in the right position. You know, it was just a tap in for this one, but he was in the right position. You know, he needed to be there if he was going to get on the end of it, and he did. And it was a really, really good moment for him, you know, getting his first goal since returning to the club, and it was a nice moment for him at the Camp Nou to score on his return. So he was on the score sheet within just 5 or 6 minutes, and that clearly showed, you know, he's in confident mood, he looked motivated, he looked really, really out to prove a point today, and he certainly did in my opinion. It was just a few minutes later, just over the 10-minute mark, on the edge of the box, and it was quite a way out, you know, 25, 30 yards out. Sergio Busquets, of all people, picks up the ball, you know, just outside the area and absolutely hammers it home. It really was a lovely goal. You know, he caressed it into the top corner of the net. Really unlike, you know, Sergio Busquets, but it was a wonderful strike from the centre midfielder into the top corner. That was 2-0, and then the floodgates sort of opened. You know, you felt this was going to be a pretty heavy scoreline, and I actually disagree. You know, a lot of people before the game were saying, you know, we should let Chapecoense win, you know, for the cause. But if you've ever played football, you know, if you've ever played football, whether it's professionally or just, you know, non-league stuff, you know that when somebody takes it easy against you, know, when they don't play to their full potential, when you know they're sort of letting you win, it's not a nice feeling. So I think if we'd have gone out there today and sort of let Chapecoense win, or, you know, sort of let them have a lot more of the game, it wouldn't have felt right. You know, they would have been more offended at that than if we played our usual game and beaten them, because I think, you know, we're always going to beat Chapecoense, whether it's, you know, this team or any other team in the Gamper. You know, we usually win these games quite comfortably, so it would have been more offensive for me, I think, if we would have sort of eased up against them and gone easy on them. That's not what they came here for. They came here for a match. You know, they may have learned a few things throughout the game, and that's good for them. You know, they got the experience of playing against these fantastic players all over the world, and they've certainly got an experience tonight, and that certainly showed. You know, they would have learned a lot from this 90 minutes, you know, following players like Messi, Suárez around, watching their movements, watching how to defend against them, the type of things they do with the ball. It's all learning, it's all experience for these players. Some of them out there for Chapecoense, very, very young as well, so it was a great experience for them. But about the half-an-hour mark gone, it was, like I say, very much one-way traffic. Lionel Messi picks up the ball. He had a lot of good link-up play throughout that first half with Gerard Deulofeu on that left-hand side, and this is a perfect example, I think, of what Deulofeu can bring to this team and why he can be a part, certainly going forward in this season to come. He got the ball down the left-hand side. Lionel Messi gave it to him, and this is a move that we have seen so many times throughout the last sort of 5 or 6 years, with Lionel Messi playing down the middle and somebody on that left-hand side. Deulofeu picked up the ball, and automatically he was ready to give it back to Messi. He had his head up, he was looking for the pass, he was looking looking to give it back to Messi as soon as he possibly could. He tried once, it came back to him, and then he tried straight away again. And Lionel Messi was in the right position, like he always is, inside the area, and it was a calm finish from him. And that was a moment where I felt that, you know what, Deulofeu can play a part. You know, whether it was a friendly tonight, whether it was against Chapecoense, is irrelevant for me. He showed all the characteristics, the good positioning, he showed the right mentality, and he really showed that he was happy enough to link up with Messi, because a lot of people have been saying about Deulofeu, you know, he's selfish, he won't succeed here for that reason, he's not got the right mindset. Today he looked motivated, he looked very much up for the occasion, he looked like he had a point to prove, he looked mature on the ball, and he was certainly looking to put his head up and pick a pass at every possible opportunity. And that's really important, because if you're going to play in that left wing role, we don't always need stars. You know, there was time when Neymar was out on the left, as good as he was for Barcelona, there was times where he was out on the left and he was sort of dawdling on the ball, he was delaying the pass, and before you knew it, the chance had gone. You know, we need players to be direct at times, to give the ball straight back to Messi, because you know what he can do with it. And at times you just need somebody to give him the ball, to, you know, take the defender away, get in the right position, and then feed in the passes. And that's what Deulofeu was doing tonight. And I think, you know, we may well sign a winger, we may well sign more attacking players that come into the club, but even so, even in rotation, he's going to be an important player. And I certainly think that in the season to come, he definitely has a chance to play and really be a part of this squad. So that was basically what happened in the first half. One moment that I would certainly like to point out in that first half was Alan Ruschel. We spoke about him actually in the match preview. We said that he could play in this game. He was one of the 3 players that actually survived the plane crash back in November, and he actually made it onto the pitch today, and he played about 35 minutes of the game, and then he felt like, you know, enough was enough, because of course, you know, he's not going to be match fit. He's only returned to training very recently, and to play in this game alone was a massive achievement for him. So all the best, and it was fantastic to see him out on the pitch. He came off just before half-time, and the Camp Nou's reaction was fantastic. You know, all the crowd were on their feet applauding him. He was able to look around at the stands and see so many thousands applauding him, singing his name, and it was a wonderful, touching moment for him. You know, he survived the plane crash. He's worked very hard in rehabilitation to get back into training, to get himself match fit to play in this game. He managed over half an hour. It was a really good display of fitness from him, and it was so nice for him to receive that fantastically glowing reception when he was taken off at the Camp Nou and replaced by his teammate just before half-time. But like I say, it was a very dominant first half. Deulofeu was certainly a bright spark on that left-hand side. It was nice to see his combination and his sort of combination play, willingness to pass the ball, and certainly just striking up some combinations with Messi and Suárez as well was great to see. And then the second half was very much the same. You know, it was a lot of dominance. We had a lot of possession. There was a lot of midfield play in Valverde's team. I don't think this was really the game where you can analyse sort of tactics. There wasn't an awful lot of tactics on show today. It was mainly about getting the ball in the opposition's half and doing the right thing with it in the final third. You know, when it came to goal scoring, we had a lot of chances. We could have scored more goals. The finishing wasn't always there from us, but we certainly wanted to win this game. We certainly wanted to score goals, and about 55 minutes gone in the second half, Luis Suárez got off the mark. He got his goal back at the Camp Nou today. Wonderful finish, but it was the bit before it which I liked, a 1-2 with Lionel Messi. That's going to be so important for us this season, so important going forward, that combination play with Lionel Messi. Their link-up play is going to have to be superb if we're going to be at our best this season, and we did see evidence of it tonight. They were looking good, they were looking sharp, both of them were combining on several occasions. They looked very much happy with each other's company. It was a nice 1-2 with Lionel Messi, Suárez in space, a nice pass back to him, and it was a really lethal finish from Luis Suárez, very powerful across the goalkeeper to make it 4-0, and then the final goal 5-0. Denis Suárez this time, the other Suárez getting on the score sheet. He came on as a sub, and it was a really calm finish from him. Lionel Messi with the assist, really good vision once again from Messi to pick the pass, and Denis Suárez looking very cool in front of goal. So cool it could have almost been Luis with the finish. But the bright sparks definitely today with Deulofeu. You know, it was good to see him on the pitch. It was good to see him making an impression. There was a few subs in the second half. You know, a few players got their minutes. Jasper Cillessen came on at half-time for Ter Stegen. Deulofeu went off at half-time, was replaced by Denis. Of course, Deulofeu still getting up to match speed, so he couldn't play the full game today. Mascherano came on to replace Teddy. Roberto came on to replace Andres Iniesta on about the hour mark, and then about 10 minutes before time there was a wealth of changes once again from Ernesto Valverde. It was good to see Sergio Samper getting on the pitch to replace Rakitic. Marlon came on for Piqué, Alcácer for Suárez, Digne for Jordi Alba, and Nelson Semedo came on to replace Alex Vidal with about 10 minutes to go. Digne for Alba, Munir for Messi, and Carlos Elena came on for Sergio Busquets, and there was a wealth of changes, like I say, just before the end of the match. But it was a good run out for a lot of these players. Once again, we're building that match fitness, that match sharpness that is going to be so important going into Sunday's Copa match in the Super Cup against Real Madrid. That's a massive game for us. A lot of people say that it doesn't have a huge importance in Spain, but we'll be taking it very seriously on Sunday, and that's a game that we certainly want to win. That too will be at the Camp Nou, and I'll have lots of reaction coming up in the week to come with videos. I'm going to be doing another podcast very shortly for you guys, so look out for all that. I will see you very soon. Leave me your thoughts down below on the game. Who impressed you? Who did you like watching tonight? What were the positives to take from this game? And certainly looking ahead to that Copa match now, who impressed today and possibly could be given a starting berth for that game? Let me know your thoughts down below, guys. I will see you very soon indeed. But until then, as always, Vesca el Barça.
Barça!